Ibiza in '89, we were completely obsessed with it. My friends and I were going to all the clubs that went to Spectrum, went to all these kind of famous clubs, but we were out of towners, and we were lucky because every little satellite town had a decent club.
Yeah.
And there was a really strong Blair network. It's that network. And those were the clubs that were nearer to us. And you'd still get people from all over the country there. Queen's in Slough, Full Circle. Yeah. And Studio Valbonne was my favourite, which was in Maidenhead, which was a Sunday night club. And we had one friend who was 16, who was DJing with all the big guns. Nobody knew how old he was. Yeah. And we were kind of his box boys. And sort of getting in on the guest list with him. And we went to Ibiza with him, and it was just a complete revelation. You know, you're kind of very young. And
yeah, you must have been really young then. Yeah.
I had my first holiday abroad at Magaluf in 1988, and there was about 12 of us, and there was a terrible split in the ranks with, you know, the ones that were kind of clued up, desperate to go to Ibiza. And it was our first holiday abroad, you know, as a gang. And Magaluf came out on top. And we're like, oh, bollocks, let's go to Magaluf then. And I remember sitting in some terrible bar with my mates, kind of a bit disgruntled. Oh, I wonder what's happening in Ibiza right now. Yeah. And these girls walked past and went, you shimmers. At this time I had a homemade, stenciled Future Slam
respect for that
t-shirt. It was homemade. It was all kind of fluorescent colours. I don't know if I had headbands on and silly things like that, but anyway, we looked silly enough to be shimmers. These girls from South London, wherever they're from, and we're like, yeah. Is there any acid house in Magaluf? and there was, in a place called Bananas, and they had an acid house dancing competition that we all went in for. I didn't win, unfortunately.
All right. Where did you come?
I was non-placed. But it shows you that time, it was all, it was pop music. It was all in the tabloids. It exploded everywhere.
Yeah, it was pervasive, wasn't it?
Yeah, and that was 88. It was early. But I wasn't in Ibiza, and I was gutted. So I was on the first flight the next summer. And I didn't get into Amnesia when it opened. There was a very famous opening party, and I was left outside clambering up a sand pit trying to get in over the roof with a load of Scousers. I didn't know we were in the business of breaking in.
There's always Scousers.
It's always Scousers. They were breaking into Boy George's birthday party, which was the launch that season. And I was close but no cigar. I kind of got there. And I'd be out the front, and all these people were coming in, loads of faces, but couldn't get in. But, the rest of the holiday we got in, we went everywhere else, and I was smitten. Cafe Del Mar, was smitten with that. I was already getting my head around what was being played there and sort of what that sound was. And, I just besotted with the island from, every aspect of it. So, I kind of never stopped being a soul boy, suburban soul boy, oik, and I never stopped being an indie kid. It's sort of, I'm dead square in the middle of that.
Do you think that whole the acid house and what it brought actually has allowed us kind of culturally and of a generation to be able to be freed up to say en masse, I really like indie music, but I really like soul music. And
well, look at what happens now. I think that all the boundaries are blurred. It freed people up on loads of levels. Loads of people did creative jobs that wouldn't have had the bolt to do it. Me included. I was very kind of aware of people setting up fashion things, people having fanzines, record labels, everything. I think it was all DIY culture was given a real shot in the arm through that scene, and it's a really great legacy for kind of culturally in England. You know, people just got on with it. It was great.
How did you get on with it?
I went straight into being a freelance designer straight from college, and pretty much before finishing college, I was, oh, he'll do you a flyer, and I'd be like, yeah. And I was so super enthusiastic that I would do anything. My first job was a pizza company thing straight out of college, but then there was a local record shop where I was at college in High Wycombe, sunny High Wycombe, very glamorous. And was a kid in the record shop who had a drum and bass label. Brilliant. So I started doing sleeve art for that. Intelligent drum and bass. Sorry.
Of course, yeah.
I've never heard stupid drum and bass. I don't know if anyone knows stupid drum and bass.
I love that, intelligent drum and bass.
Yeah. No, we wouldn't want to be just any drum and bass
stuff.
No. I knew when I was 10 years old I wanted to do record sleeves, you know. I was obsessed with it. You know, I'd go and buy records not knowing what they were. I'd have Saturdays would be in a town called Aylesbury with my parents when I was very little. And they had a shop called Earth Records and another shop called Oven Ready Records. And, I'd see things on the wall and they were like, you know, I've got to have this, what is this? Irrespective of what the music is, just because of what it looked like. And then often you'd hear the music and you'd be equally blown away by the music as you were the graphics.
What sort of stuff were you buying for the graphics?
I bought David Bowie's Low when I must have been about 9 years old.
Wow.
You know, and it kind of, it was a long time before I got my head around the music.
Yeah.
But what an amazing sleeve, you know, you're just like, that's a bit of art, I need that.
Absolutely, yeah.
You know, and you'd have to make very considered decisions about buying records. You didn't have a lot of money, and that has always been the case, really. You know, you have to want it and you have to consider it, especially as a kid. And we, as a group of friends, we were all travelling up on the tube and going to the first import shops, and we couldn't buy all the tracks individually, but we could kind of make a dent in things that we wanted together, and then you'd all have to take them, and you know, it's a real commitment, and just getting on the track early enough so that first of all you had to kind of be in the record shop at the right time,
Sure,
and then you had to be in the know with the people in the record shop, otherwise you didn't get a look in. So I had this list of stuff I just couldn't get hold of until I got older and more proficient in you know, barging your way in or finding better record shops or, you know, going to source.
Were you a bit of a shy one then when you were younger?
Not really. Not when it came to sort of records. You know, it was kind of, I'm a bit of a, there's an etiquette. I'm a bit, you know, there's a boot fair thing. I go to boot fairs all the time. They're better than anywhere else now because all the other record shops are kind of knackered and there's few of them around. So you're in a boot fair. I go to one in Dorset really regularly, and you're up at 8 in the morning, and my missus goes, "Can I go to the boot fair?" Because, you know, I'll be back at 9:30. Be fine, just going for a bit. And then you're in there. It's £3 to get in before 9 because that's the good stuff.
Yeah.
And you kind of have to case the place very quickly and see who's, you know, what's around. And then there may be someone who's kind of.
And I guess you'll know, won't you, who the guys are who are.
And you've got to either kind of get to where the good stuff is quicker, but you know, there's always that kind of etiquette with it. So I'm a bit of a Nazi when it comes to digging. Yeah, there's something that comes over me, and I'm like, oh, you know.
What have you got recently that's been that's you've found like a holy grail? Has there been one recently?
There's always something you find. You know, I went to Huddersfield before I came out on Saturday, so we got the tip off from Craig. Oh, there's fine on tap. Okay.
Yeah.
And you find this basement and it's enormous, and you're okay. Luckily, I had 3 hours and I was kind of ferreting around.
Yeah.
And found some crackers, you know. But that happens every time. But it's like it's panning for gold, and it's definitely there's something kind of mercurial about it and mystical about it. It's not. What's that? It's like, I must look over here. Oh, bloody hell, you know, it's sort of things find you.
It's that record collective unconsciousness that floats about you.
Yeah. So you have to kind of tap into that first, wait for the vibrations, and then you're like, right, over there.
Yeah. So you were designing and you had loads of luck because you were really focused upon not doing all that other stuff. How did that?
And I do it for nothing, which is
it's always a winner, isn't it? Doing stuff for nothing, yeah, because people just keep.
Yeah, I was just happy to be doing it, and then the thing with design school is they don't really teach you how to do it properly. They teach you the idea of it.
Yeah,
it's like if you print it like that, it won't work and it will fuck up, and you'll have to pay, and you have to do it all again. And that was pretty much my first 2 years of being a freelance designer. Every time, we can't read this. Oh no, you printed it. Oh. So not only was I doing it for free, but I was probably doing it at my own expense after that. But doing it for love nonetheless, because it was amazingly exciting to have your stuff printed up in thousands of copies and everybody looking at it, and on a record, my first record sleeve, you know.
What was it called then?
It was a thing. I think it was a thing on Monkey Funk Records.
Is it amongst this?
It's not on there actually. No. It was kind of graffitoed Monkey Funk kind of thing. But yeah, and it took 3 goes before it could be printed, and a 48-hour kind of session of getting it wrong. And but you know, I've done a record sleeve after, you know, that was probably when I was 21. So 10 years after really going, right, that's what I'm doing. That's how long it takes.
You got there, and that must have been an incredible feeling to
and to see it in the
thought
shops.
that as a kid and to get there.
And then the next step is to make your own record, which is another. It's kind of different league in terms of make a record.